We have determined the locations of their hideouts, but we don't know which hideout is the one where they are keeping Miss Claire.
That one.
Bro, how do you know this?
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
Sometimes it feels like isekai have been getting too good. Not all of them, but the good ones really hit hard now. So much that it's not even fun to shit too hard on them because they get more love than other shows, and there are definitely going to be more of them each season. I've been conflicted though because I don't know if the show is that good or just funny enough to get away with everything. For now though, I think Eminem in the Shadow is just simply brilliant.
Oh shit, I feel so sick. Oh no, I got a bit of a throat itch. What if it's COVID?
Basically, you have a guy whose biggest goal in life is to become the Eminence in Shadow. That's like a character akin to superheroes or vigilantes. On the outside and in his daily life where people can see him, he wants to be an NPC. After his reincarnation, he saves a girl and basically lies that the world is being run by a cult known as the Cult of Diablos, and he and his new organization Shadow Garden are the only ones who can stop them. The kicker is, he knows he's making shit up, but everything he says turns out to be true. See, Sid knew that he had reached the pinnacle of human excellence, or well, most of that, even if he reached the pinnacle of humanity, there are things he couldn't do as a Shadow Overlord. So he basically mastered all forms of martial arts, karate, boxing, everything, but he didn't know when his chance will come, so he wants to be ready. If you want to be a secret edgelord though, there are some downsides, one of them being immortality. The strongest regular human cannot tank a nuke or bullets, and he realized that, so he added more to his training. He tried to learn magic by following WikiHow articles, but on one day when he was destroying his brain cells by banging on a tree naked, he sees heavenly lights and runs into them. It was shocking.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
I can't really explain it.
Sid usually just ends up saying the first thing that comes into his head in relation to things going on in the world or what his next action would be, and by sheer author-induced coincidence, it all happens. It felt like a great subversion because in every or most isekai, things just happen for the main character and we just have to go along with it, without asking questions. Because the more questions you ask about isekai plots, the worse it becomes. So if you want to enjoy it, just close your mind and accept it all. But from this angle, I love how the author is playing with that notion by making us know that he knows it's all bullshit and even Sid knows it. What I like most about his life before getting isekai'd was that in the manga, he was this ripped John Cena looking guy who was telling himself that he was hiding the fact that he was working out and practicing martial arts. After reading that, you could already tell that this guy is going to be one of the most delusional MCs we've seen in a minute. How would you describe Sid though?
僕が金になびく男に見えるとでも？
見えるわ。
I guess all of those. Now, in one of my favorite episodes, he's joined the Friendson tournament because why the f not? And Sid revealed to the audience that it's finally time for him to shine. All his training had been leading up to the day where he fights the strongest sword master of the school, a woman so high that she's unparalleled in skill and status. For this moment, when no one in the crowd was cheering for him, he would like to unleash the 48 master techniques he's honed with his blood, sweat, and tears, which will end up being techniques that would worm his way into her heart as well. After everything he's been doing so far in the show, I don't know why I didn't see this coming. The little speech he gave before the clash, the high speed start, the slow-mo and drawn out bass, everything was perfect enough for this to not be a gag. So once it happened, I just lost it. But this was one of the 48 techniques. See, this same scene was handled kinda differently in the manga. Instead of the silence and the sudden blood packet, Sid kinda walks us through it. He starts by talking about how glad he is that his hard work to be an NPC has paid off because no one is cheering for him, and proceeds to monologue about his plan.
You have a 1 second window, right as the sword hits, you leap. You must on each in your feet make any excessive movements at this point. Try to take the shape of a lesser than sign. And just aim at the sky at a comfortable speed of 60-80 kph.
Sometimes people go through life thinking they're the main character of the world and that it should somehow conform to their actions. Sid is the embodiment of that. So far, things happen the way he wills them to. It's like he's the author himself. He's so oblivious to everything going on that I don't think he realizes he's actually a murderer. I honestly don't know what he thinks when he slices their bodies in half, but maybe he just thinks they're stuntmen. But at this point in the story though, he doesn't really have any worries and everything is hunky-dory, so he's free to amass his army. His army of, let's see, sexy female warriors of all races. There is really such a thing as too many women, bro. But he doesn't know that, and even when he tries to be the best NPC he can, that's still enough to get him more? What? Isekai anime are usually carried hard by the main dude, and most of the others tend to become memes. The organization Shadow Garden is basically a harem organization, but with a bit of a twist. All the girls, or at least some of them, are people that he saved.
So the usual.
Okay, well, the twist is that the harem girls are actually useful in this world, and they were not slaves that I know of. One is an accomplished novelist Beta, one is a business tycoon Gamma, one is a BBL enthusiast Epsilon, who's also an accomplished pianist. And so far, these are the only ones we know that have any sort of importance as far as screen time goes. But apart from the girls in Shadow Garden, Sid has managed to win the hearts of nobility as well.
Of course he did. Okay.
With a story that exists in three mediums, anime, manga, and light novels, there's always something that the anime has over the other two. Obviously animation, but also music. Sid hasn't let me down in any of the scenes where he slicing enemies or imposters in half. There seems to be a lot of those. Even the Shadow Garden and Royal Girls get a good share of the sweet animation. The opening, however, was done by the chats that brought us the Overlord OP, the first one. It honestly took a while for it to grow on me, but when I started liking it, it hit different, probably because I heard it so much. So when you download the Eminence and Shadow game, you need to download some extra data that's like 500 megabytes, and while it's downloading, the opening song plays on repeat. Now my internet sucks and it took way longer than it normally should, so I ended up listening to this song way more than I wanted to, so in a sense it kinda grew on me. The OSTs on the other hand are not wall-breaking songs that I can't do without, but they're pretty sick. The Shadow Garden one is my favorite because it kinda has this legendary feel to it. It was kinda unexpected in a pleasant way because I know anyone that reads the light novel would be missing the feeling that music brings. And that's for a light novel that seems to be getting a lot of praise for the work that the author did with it. The author Daisuke Aizawa doesn't seem to have written any other stories apart from this one, which I think is very impressive. Getting into the anime and manga world has only gotten increasingly difficult, and this is evident by the sheer amount of stories that come out, and I would say the quality as well. For him to start serialization in 2018 and already have an anime with a good studio 4 years later says a lot about his take on the isekai genre. Because let's be real, at this point, it may be the most oversaturated genre with everything being a carbon copy of the last. Stories like Konosuba popularized the satire of isekai, and shows like Mom Isekai brought it back down to zero. I had initially thought the original version of this story was the manga, but it seems this anime we are watching is an adaptation of an adaptation. You can really feel the difference in the adaptations of the works and how different and original they all feel, while going for different angles in regards to some of the jokes or sequence of events. I wonder if anyone who's still here has consumed all three versions, and if so, which one's your favorite? It's hard to pinpoint one thing or one reason why I like this show so much. I guess I can boil it down to me feeling a bit refreshed when I watch it, more so after reading. Is it anime of the year or anime of this season? Fuck no. A better isekai might come out next season, and this one will just become a passing memory. But for now, I can honestly say that I'm enjoying it way too much. Sid is a fun character to follow. You don't always have a protagonist whose dream is to become edgier, but I guess the isekai genre is progressing, and I'm all for it.